So that morning when the horror of 9/11 occurred and the first tower was hit, we heard it and we saw it. And, everyone was panic stricken and, of course, horrified by everything that we were seeing. At the same time, we kind of started to process what we were seeing, right? What were the ramifications of everything that we were seeing? And we realized that we still had staff that had yet to come into the office that were going to be coming in through the subway stations that were underneath the towers. We also had people coming in by the Staten Island ferry. So we were just kind of trying to figure out what was going on, what to do next, how were we going to kind of figure out how to get in contact with all of our drivers who had already left the building, or some of them, had been still packing, but most of them had left the building to go out for their deliveries. By that time, we already saw um, people coming down 6th Avenue. They were passing our building, and they were covered in the remnants of everything that had happened to the tower or the towers. And it was just awful. It was horrible. And then at the same time, you saw the fire trucks and the police cars, everybody going down um, the other side of 6th Ave, right? Because they closed it from both sides. So, you knew that every first responder, every city employee that at least works for the fire department and for the police department was heading into, the center of that situation, the center of that horror. And, for God's love, we knew we had food. We had food in our building, right? Because we always had to prep food in advance and have things ready. And we thought, well, what can we do, right, to help? How can we help after this tragedy? And the way that we were able to help is to provide meals to those quote unquote first responders that were still, in the excavation and trying to rescue, and people going into the devastation of what happened for 9/11, trying to see if they could find any survivors. So we were able to at least open up our brick and mortar building and actually be a place of respite for the volunteers that were down there, also for those first responders, remembering that 9/11 was 20 years ago, and just the sadness and the grief, and you know the families that were impacted by so much loss, but then also knowing that there was such valiant effort in terms of how our city responded and wanted to help one another. And I'm so honored and pleased that God's Love We Deliver could be part of that, trying to offer comfort, offer respite, offer support through what we do well, which is providing food, and that food has love in it.